Howdy guys, Kirk and family here with Kirk, Giordano Plastering. Today I want to show you how we patch around this window, but it's kind of easy. If it was on the ground it'd be way easy, but we're kind of high up here. We got here and I thought, I'm not comfortable with that, so we added a couple ladders and ropes and all the rest of that jazz because I'm no spring chicken and this kind of stuff scares me these days. Anyway, when we're doing something so high up like this and we're going so thick, this is mighty thick stucco, you got to have some rich mud because yes, we are doing both coats right now. I'm not coming up here another day. So I'm gonna get started, and what I want to show you is the finish. Now the finish coat, we're gonna get to that towards the end of the video. We may not show this entire application of mud, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, Jay actually is a rock climber and this stuff doesn't bother him. He's been up Yosemite, all of that stuff, hanging on scaffold, mile high, he doesn't care. All right, I'm taking this stucco here, turn it around and using my skill to get it up into here. I'm taking it off, turning it around, guys, slow motion, and blam, putting it up in there. It's a lot of mud right here. You take it, you spin it, and then you slam it up there. And yeah, we're gonna have some drops because we are defying gravity right now, and we're so thick, I only want to do one coat. And can you guys do one coat? It takes a lot of practice. Anything coming down, you just put it on best you can. I'm gonna scoot over here. We're gonna use it doesn't look like much, but we're gonna use at least, say, 4 buckets maybe. What's 4 buckets? About a wheelbarrow full of mud. Right here I'm getting my base coat, then I'm spinning this around, the bucket's in the way, but I spin it around, guys, you see what I got there. Take it off, spin that, and go up top. How long do I have before this sets? Good question, glad you guys asked. I have about 15 to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes, this is going to get hard as a rock or hard as stucco. And we are using a stucco that they build bridges with. How strong is it? Well, you put it on, it's about 27 psi, 2700 psi, and when it's almost dry, it jumps up to about almost 4,000 psi strength when dry. Now, the average stucco is about, I guess, around 1,600. So this is really strong stuff. With all same-day stuccos, with all scratch and brown, where you do your scratch coat, the brown coat, almost every one of them, you cannot or should not overmix. Why? You compromise the strength of them. Now that I got most of that done, I'm going to lay here and look at my own work and fill in this gap because gravity is pulling it down. So I back up a little bit, back up and push it up. It's hard to see from down there, I'm sure, but I've got it where, because we're doing 2 coats, but pushing it in there, you lay back and it's done. Now I get the luxury of standing up. Now I'm using a stiff mud. Look how stiff that is. Why? Because I want it to set in here. Like this mud here is, it's stiff and rich. That means it's going to adhere well. If it was runny like soup, it would be falling down. If it was too stiff, of course I wouldn't be able to spread it. I'm working here, and the owner says my voice got deeper. I said, that's the voice of fear, brother, because I'm nervous up here. We generally have scaffolding But if there's no scaffolding, can we improvise? Sure, as long as the ladders are these heavy duty ones and the plank is heavy duty. Otherwise, I tend to get kind of nervous. Now that that's done, I'm going to just finish out this bucket right here because I have the easy stuff left. I have my Jason on the camera. Jay actually says, well, Dad, I'll do it because he's a rock climber and this is nothing to him. In fact, he thought it'd be kind of fun, but I don't know how to use that camera, so I'm stuck doing the plastering. What I'm going to do is one more bucket, which my other son is mixing. Then I'll show you how we mix this or match this finish here with this mud. You can see the window they already did. Another fella did that window. He did a pretty nice job. So my job is to match this heavy float finish. And what does that mean? That means once I steel trowel it down, I'm going to bring the aggregate out. What is aggregate? That's a fancy word for sand. If it were concrete, the aggregate would be rocks. So I'm going to wiggle over here, finish the rest of this bucket, and when we get this next bucket on, we'll continue and show you how to float this, because floating it does require a lot of time and a lot of skill. Those guys did a pretty nice job. I can see they got a little bit of time in, so I'll show you how we do it. Mud! All right, Jay's gonna bring me up some mud. Bring me some mud, dude. Now this scaffold here, Jay actually reset it up because I don't trust anybody's staging. Jason's I'll trust. He's a rock climber, ski patroller. He does this stuff all the time. Like that time you did that swinging off that El Capitan in Yosemite. They were on a rope swing and they swung out way above the ground. It seemed like a mile, but he says it was only a few hundred feet. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off right here, and then we'll show you how we float it. All right, guys, I got the bird's eye view up here. You see this plank here? These are quite common. I have a 28-foot plank like this myself. This is about a 14. I got a 28 where you put two ladders. Scares the crap out of me going on that. But I was just now looking, I seen a clinker right here, and I thought, well, I can get that clinker. It's when this is painted, it'll be noticeable. So all you do is you scrape that off. And as I was doing that, I was telling Jay about a friend of mine. He's a roofer, a really good roofer. Him and his son were working off of planks like this. They had two ladders, and they were set up like this. They were a little bit further apart. He had that 28-foot plank. He was about 10 feet higher than this. And I watched this. I had to turn around. I thought, I can't watch that anymore. His son stood at the end, and this plank here was off 15 feet because they couldn't set it up any. They didn't have a place to set the bottom ladder. His son stood at one end. This fella walked on here with nothing underneath, just the teeter-tottering effect or the counterweight of his son on one side. And he was like, hey, Kirk. And I said, man, I can't even watch that anymore. So what I'm doing, this is not a big deal when I think of some of the things that I've seen done and that I have done when I was a younger fella. Anyway, we're at the stage now where I'm going to bring the sand out. Why? Because this is a heavy float finish or sand finish. It means the same thing. We take this green sponge float. Green sponge float, you can buy these at Home Depot, Lowe's, West Side, all over the place. And now I started from the bottom first, so I'm going to continue with the bottom. I'm going to get out here, and because the bottom here, I went ahead and floated. I'm going to just lay on my back, and I'm going to push this up. Now, as I push up, I get the bottom part. I tie and I'll feather in my joint. And what you do, guys, is you just push up with the float. You guys may not be able to see this, of course, but we push up. In fact, I'll go to an area where you can see. Let's see, where are you at, Jay? All right, let me get this left side. I won't bore you guys with all the details, but here's how you float the edges. You can call it feathering in the joints. We generally call this, what I'm about to do, feathering in the joint. Now I'll take the wood trim here and I'll go straight up. Now I go a lot of water. The water helps set the stucco. It hydrates it. Now I look at whatever finish I have to work with. If it's super fine finish where you barely see the sand, what I can do is two things. I can float it, then come back to it with a drier float and almost get the sand where you can't even see it. If it's super heavy, that means that I use a lot of water and leave that water on it. So I dictate what I want this finish to be. I've had fellas say, well, gee, I tried it and it's too sandy. Or fellas say, I tried it and it's too fine. We dictate what we want by our skill level. Now that matches what we have here, so I'm going to take the clean float and just clean the wood as I go right here. That way, when I get to that stage, I can just rip this plastic off and be done. And if any of you folks say, well, gee, how long do we wait until we paint? On an average, almost every stucco out there, whether it's these same day scratch and browns or Portland cements of any kind, from Sackcrete to you name it, any of the products that are sold at Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of the hardware stores, 28 days. Why 28 days? Well, as a rule, a whole house is stuccoed. You have this wall, say for example, it's in the hot sun right now, or at least it's warm here. You might have another wall in the shade. So if you give it 28 days, you allow all of the house to contract, expand, shrink. Or more importantly, you allow the stucco, which has a high alkalinity to start off with. Like right now, it's about a 14. We want it to drop down to about a 9. What does that technical stuff mean? That means don't paint it till 28 days are up. Otherwise, the paint can blister. Have I ever seen it blister? No. Have I seen guys paint it before that 28 days? Absolutely. We did a commercial project. I won't mention the name of the very prominent company we worked for, and I told them wait 28 days to paint, and they painted it within 2 days. And when I said, hey, we just happened to be driving by again, I said, you know, you shouldn't have painted it that fast. He said, Kirk, look, your job is done. I'm a general. I need this done fast. So we painted it within 2 days. And I said, okay, I just tell folks the reasoning behind everything. I can't tell a fella, gee, don't paint. I just advise. Anyway, you see where we're going with this. I'm going to take another 10 minutes and I'll spare you guys my rambling. And when I'm done, I'll show you the finish and we'll pull this off. All right, guys, laying in the sun, it feels good. I got the sand right here. All I need is a margarita. Let me tell you, I'm going to leave you guys with one tip of advice. If you're going to do this stuff, scaffold. Set some staging. This is all legal stuff, but it's dangerous, guys. I do this stuff for a living, so don't say, oh, I'm going to copy old Kirk. And another tip is wear glasses. My youngest son, Dan, we were plastering and we had some loose wires. So when you put the plaster on the wall, it goes on, and then the loose wires, if they're like this, they flick it at you. So I've had stucco flicked at me 1,000 times. It always seems to come out of the right here. It'll come out the next day. Well, my son wasn't so fortunate. He was trying for a week. He finally had to go to the eye doctor, and guess what? They gave him a shot in his eye. I said, really? He says, yeah, Dad. I mean, it's like $300. They numbed his eye, and then he watched a needle come in his eye. I said, don't mess around. Wear some glasses, because if this stuff gets in your eye, it is a bit of a drag to get it out. That should scare the heck out of all you guys, meaning set staging and wear glasses and don't do anything goofy. Anyhow, my name is Kirk, Jason on the camera, Carl down there mixing too. We thank you for watching, and as usual, see you guys on the next one. Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below, and also if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.